talking about design trends coming and going. With some of the delays, by the time you actually got it from overseas, you could be over the trend.
Oh my God, God forbid, that would be awful. Or they forget. Usually we forget and they forget by that time, even though we have the mood boards and everything. So when it comes in, it's kind of like a fun surprise.
So, hey, Christina, how's your day been going? I hope you had a good weekend and everything was
Oh,
pretty smooth.
yeah, excellent. I haven't screwed anything up yet today, so it's a good day.
That's always one of the great things about a Monday is like stuff has not gone downhill yet. It's
That's
hard for it
right.
to go
Yeah.
downhill first thing on a Monday. That is for sure. Here with Christina, you have your own interior design company, not just an interior design company, but one of the most recognized ones here in Austin. So I really appreciate you
Oh,
being a
thank you.
guest with us here. One of the things that I always like to talk about early in the year are overall trends of stuff. And the start of the year, a lot of people are thinking about maybe buying and selling a home, maybe doing some work on their home. And so I was curious from your perspective, what are some of the current design trends that are in place for people that might be thinking about getting some updates or doing some things to their home?
Yeah, that's a great question. We were actually just at the Dallas furniture market. So got some really good insights from the manufacturers as to what's trending, what's going on, and two overarching themes, which are diametrically opposed, which was interesting. We have minimalist design, which a lot of clients are very familiar with, just a clean, serene, edited design. It doesn't necessarily have to be stark modern. It could be what we call soft modern. So you have natural soft elements, but there's just not a lot of it, just very edited and discerning design details. So that's one that's still going strong. But now there's maximalist design, which is more is more. So you do the wallpaper, not only on the walls, but on the ceiling. And then you do the pattern on the chairs and you use vibrant colors. So you just go all in. It's not, oh, let's just do one accent pillow and one nice piece of art. It's like everything is saturated and exaggerated. So that was fun as a team, to see those two design trends going strong at the market.
You mentioned it's up in Dallas, you said?
Correct.
How so are those the kind of places where you go or events that you go to get an idea of where the market's going, or are there other things? I'm sure that's not the only thing, but I guess what are the factors, the news sources, the ideas that help you see where the trends are going?
Yeah, so there are major markets that a lot of designers will attend. Dallas is a small yet mighty market. The bigger ones are in High Point, North Carolina. Vegas always comes in strong with their market. New York also has a strong furniture market, and Chicago. I typically just do two, North Carolina and Dallas, but I'm thinking Vegas might be fun.
Vegas can be good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
Vegas,
sure my team would love to go to Vegas with me.
Vegas does definitely knows how to hold a convention. That's for sure.
Oh, absolutely. But I tell you, at night, I'm all up on my phone, Instagram, Pinterest, looking at ideas. So I get a lot of creative insights from other influencers on those markets as well.
Yeah, on social media for sure. It's
Yeah.
definitely a place for inspiration for a lot of different people for a lot of different industries.
Yeah, so I always encourage homeowners, if you're not quite certain yet what your style is, look and pin some ideas, from those sources, and you'll see that there's an overarching style. You just don't know what it's called.
What speaking of the kind of the two diverging styles, like how long do you feel like most styles last or stay in place? And obviously, it's impossible to know for sure, but it feels like the kind of that minimalistic style, which we've had, I feel like that's been in place for a while now. Kind of the
Mhm.
more whites and grays and less colors, like that felt as though it has lasted for a number of years, which if you're a homeowner can be a nice thing because it doesn't feel like you have to update your home quite as much.
Right,
Where if you do go the full colors, wallpaper on the ceilings and all that, if you love it, great. At that point, unless you're trying to sell your home, who cares if
right.
someone's kind of like, oh, that's not in style anymore. If you love it and you're not selling your home, you do you. But it also does feel like you could turn around to be like, shoot, this isn't in style anymore. Now I need to update my home again more quickly.
I tell clients, when we go all in with these fun, exaggerated designs, like in 6 years, you're probably going to be over it. And it'll be time to redesign. But during those 6 years, you're going to absolutely love it. People are going to walk into your home. It's going to be a wow factor. But yeah, budget in 6 years that you're going to redo it. So for me, it's job security. For our clients, it's fun because then they can reimagine their home once again with something else that really speaks to them at that time. But I think you're right. Like the minimalist will always be trending. Yeah, and that's easy to layer up too. So if you wanted to give it a little bit more color, you change out the accent pillows, but your fundamental furniture basics are all always going to be very neutral.
Sure. Yeah, saying that I've heard, and of course I'll probably mess it up now, but like try to do traditional with say your staples, and then your accents can be more trendy, right? So if you the expensive pieces, if they're a little bit more traditional, mainstream, that those are the expensive pieces that you can get uh, and keep for longer periods of time, and then throw in trendy things for accent pieces or less expensive thing. Again, paint's not super expensive, wallpaper is not that expensive. And so sometimes with some of those things, you can be a little bit more, throw your personality in there and not have to worry about it
Exactly.
being such a costly change down the road when your tastes change in 5, 6 years.
Yeah, that is the most brilliant strategy to have that kind of conservative fundamental approach with then fun layers on top of it. But when you go all in with the purple sofa, that one's you're gonna trend out. So yeah, you're better off with a much more neutral sofa or maybe navy and then layer up from there.
What for design trends as a whole, like again, is it something where you've seen a lot of changes in the last, say the colors definitely seem like a little bit last year and then this year seem like they're getting more and more steam. How often do you feel like those trends change? Is it more of again a shifting trend change or a shifting personal preference for a lot of people when those changes happen?
So there are two answers to that. So the certainly the manufacturers and marketing companies, they make money by changing the colors. So it's just
Sure.
like in fashion. So the new fashion color is this because that way they're always selling fresh merchandise and fresh colors. So like at market, we saw a lot of emerald greens and then some mixed with some pinks or some neutral tones. But green next market is not going to be the hot color. Um,
It's trying to capture that FOMO for people.
Exactly, exactly. The second thing that you touched upon was people are relating to their homes differently. I think post pandemic, like they they want to feel a certain way in their space. I was talking with my team about this because in my home, like as you see behind me, I have some fun, vibrant colors. It relates my creativity, but there's also some white there, so it's just not super saturated. But throughout my home, there are like bright, colorful paintings and accessories. But my bedroom is very neutral, just soft, serene, layered colors and just a lot of nice textures because I want my bedroom to be quiet and serene, but the rest of my house I want it to be activated and welcoming for guests. But when I go to bed, I just need to shut down. So I think a lot of people are looking at their homes very differently because some people have very stressful jobs. So when they come home, they don't want their home to be activated. They want it to be
They don't want their
neutral.
senses overwhelmed with
Yeah, yeah. So
whatever.
those are conversations that we're having now with our clients. Like how do you want to feel when you come home? Do you entertain a lot? Does your home need to reflect that? Or is this your calm place where you tune out the world? So I love having those conversations because then the design is all that much more successful because it speaks to what they need.
What from a pricing quantity or from a pricing availability standpoint, are you seeing changes in the market that way? Because I've had clients that have had to wait a year for a sofa to come in because of shipping limitations for products overseas, or obviously with the pandemic, because everyone was spending every waking minute at their house, there were a lot of people were starting to spend a lot of money to make their homes more functional, more inviting because you're having to spend so much time there. And so that on top of it, making for an increase in home prices, it also really shot up the price for home design, remodeling. People in those spaces were super busy, and so prices went up on top of the material
Right.
costs. Are you seeing any softening or any changes in the demand or in pricing and availability of products and stuff at all?
Yeah, so furniture lead times are definitely a lot better. They had shot up some of them. Like you said, like you'd be lucky if you got this sofa from Europe in a year. Now it's definitely more normalized. So 8 to 24 weeks, really, depending upon what the furniture design is and where it's located. But that's lovely because a lot of our clients usually can wait that time lapse for something that's custom. But materials have come down a lot. So when we're doing renovations, the price of wood and tile has come down significantly. It almost would cost people double to do a renovation or a new home build during the pandemic because, all the material costs and freight costs were just so escalated. But appliances are still a bugaboo. Those you're still for certain appliances like Wolf or Miele, a lot of the European Sub-Zero fridges, those still have almost a year and a half on some of those appliances.
You say we're talking about design trends coming and going with some of the delays in getting pieces like a purple couch. By the time you actually got it from overseas, you could be over the trend, or the trend could be over at that point in time. If it really was taking that long to get stuff.
Oh my God, God forbid, that would be awful. Or they forget. Usually we forget and they forget by that time, even though we have the mood boards and everything. So when it comes in, it's kind of like a fun surprise. They're like, oh gosh, yeah, I remember.
You're
Now it's
surprised.
fabulous.
You're
I love
surprised living in
it.
furniture. It's also funny you were talking about with, again, how places have changed. You're talking about your space behind you. Mine has definitely changed just because
Yes, I love it.
video has gotten more and more things. So I've been like, oh, I need to update stuff differently. But if we did a tour of my home, it wouldn't look anything like this, because I was like, oh, we need to make this very specific for video, and trying to add what are some things that I would want to show off or have just add personality to. So it's funny how you say how spaces have changed in such a short period of time for a lot of people.
Oh, indeed. Oh, yeah, we definitely get a lot of, hey, I do a lot of Zoom calls. Can you hook me up in the background?
Yeah, try to make it a little more inviting for
Right.
people. What have you gotten any kind of crazy design requests or for either pieces or complete total redesigns and stuff lately at all?
Yeah. So, two very intriguing, three actually. Okay. So, sometimes clients will come up with themes that I never heard of before, but I'm all in. So, one was called Swanky Tiki. So, inspired by Bali. So, they love tiki huts or anything Bali inspired. So, we did this whole home in Rockport with a swanky tiki theme. So there was bamboo, there were tiki totems running around. There was a lot of wood tiles, like teak tiles that we had fabricated. So that was one unique theme. We have a project that we're going to be starting in a couple months where the client works for this family trust and they were tasked with buying a dinosaur. So I think it was called Peter the T-Rex. So they bought this dinosaur for this museum that the family has in Tampa. And so we're going to do a 3D model of the dinosaur and put it into a wall unit that we're doing in his office. So a little miniature T-Rex model inspired by the.
And so the museum got like the full
Right.
fossilized like skeleton T-Rex
Yeah.
for their
Yeah.
museum. Okay, interesting. And
Yeah.
they want his representation of that in his office.
Wall unit. That was neat. And the last one is we're working on a property which we like to call the compound. So it's this huge property, probably shy of $100 million on Lake Austin, that we're building like a full-on day spa there, just as a private building for the compound with a cold plunge spa, which I would never be that ambitious to jump into, but I'm all about
Oh,
doing
that would be
spa.
awesome to be able to just
Yeah.
have a cold plunge. There are different, so you can buy like small like cold plunge things
All
like
right.
that, and like almost turn like a chest freezer into one a little
Oh,
bit
wow.
too. So there's different ways to do it. The one is the space, and then the frequency of how often you're going to use it. Right, this is a tricky thing. Again, if you have $100 million property on Lake Austin, you probably have the space and the money, regardless of how frequently. But it's similar to a lot of health clubs these days are really incorporating the recovery portion of
Oh,
health and fitness. Instead of just like lifting weights, it's about the sauna, it's about the hot tub, cold plunge, and different things that are popular in a lot of other countries around the world, and kind of things that are more and more people are taking under consideration, just as obviously health and wellness and fitness have become bigger things for bigger more important factors for kind of everyone in life.
yeah, yeah. And I see in this property, we're doing a spa, a sauna,
Mm-hmm.
and a steam room and a massage room. But a lot of our projects, a lot of our remodels, we get requests for saunas. So either building one or doing an infrared
Hmm.
sauna or
Yep.
something. So like you said, like people's well-being and really nurturing themselves in their homes really become a big trend.
A couple of the different homes that I got to tour in the last couple of weeks. One had a infrared sauna that they had. It was definitely a buy. It wasn't built in, right? It was by the box kind of thing. But they had gotten
Uh-huh.
it up onto the second floor of this home
Oh,
and had left it. Like the current owners had moved all their stuff out because they had already moved someplace else, but they decided we're not dealing with moving the sauna. So whoever is going to buy the place hopefully will enjoy the sauna because it was just big enough that it's like trying to deal with the stairs and the doorways and
oh
stuff.
goodness, yeah.
Didn't make sense for them that way, but I did see that in there. And then another, you're talking about the having the spa built in. And there was another property that had the full hair salon room, like right off from the mud room. There was literally a hair salon where you
Oh
could hair
wow.
wash, a stool for somebody they can cut their hair. My guess is that they have lists come into their home, into the home to do their hair
My
instead of having to
hope
go
is
to the
that they
salon.
did. That's my like dream big
That's your
wife
dream
you're
dream
talking
room in the home is
about.
that. Let me go away from my computer, go
That's
get
a,
my,
get the glam to come
yeah.
coif the hair. That'd be great.
Yeah. So that was, again, not something that you don't see in every
Oh,
home.
indeed.
Even in a lot of very expensive homes, you don't necessarily
Hmm.
see that, but it was an interesting feature. So it's always fun it's always fun to see, in your case, to be able to do designs and do things that are outside the norm.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, it's always a fun challenge for our team to take on.
Nice. We'll have to come up with some other stories for next time, but it's always fun to talk to you, and I'm sure
Thank you.
hear about some great things going on next month.
Perfect.